Hey, Daniel Bach here from JumpScience.com. In this video I'm talking about what I'm calling the performance window. Alright, this is a concept that's kind of coming to my mind recently when trying to explain some things to people. Okay, so what we have is a graph of performance versus time. This would be some type of explosive performance, right? Sprinting or jumping. Okay, and then these green lines here are meant to represent what is called the performance window. Okay, it is a range of explosive performance that you may be able to do at a given strength level. Alright, so let's say you are very fresh and recovered from your training, and you have been doing a period of a lot of explosive training, so your force production is as fast as it can get. That would be a time when you are near the top of your performance window, right? On the other hand, if you have been doing a lot of slower training, a lot of strength training, and maybe you've overtrained and you're kind of fatigued, that will be a time when you are operating near the bottom of your performance window. Alright? Pretty simple to understand. Now, let's say we're talking about broad jump performance. Broad jump is a relatively slow explosive movement, right? It has a pretty long time frame for producing force. And because of that, it's going to be much more connected to strength. Okay? There's not going to be as much variety in your broad jump performance at a given strength level. And you may have your best broad jump when you're in the middle of heavy lifting. Okay, so you're going to have a smaller window if we're talking about broad jump, right? Your performance is going to be in a smaller range in here. On the other hand, let's say we're talking about top speed. That's an explosive movement that has a very small time frame to produce force, so there's much more disconnect from your strength. Okay, so you're going to get a bigger variety in your performance at a given strength level. And strength training can mess up your top speed a lot more than it's going to mess up your broad jump. Okay, so you're going to have more variety in your top speed at a given strength level compared to a slower explosive movement. So to improve your explosive performance, there's two things you can do. You can get to the top of your performance window, or you can raise your window, right? So you get to the top of your performance window by doing less strength training, more explosive training, and by getting a lot of rest and being very well recovered. Okay? But you raise your window by getting stronger. So getting to the top of your window and raising your window are brought about by very different training strategies. Okay? So it's important to know which one of those things you're trying to do and to commit to whichever one of those things you're trying to do. So let's just talk about a little scenario here. Let's say you have gotten to the top of your performance window, right? And it's time then to try to raise the performance window. So you're going to do that by getting stronger. Okay, so you start lifting. Short term, you should get a good response to strength training. So you're going to raise your window. Now, in the short term, depending on what this explosive performance is exactly, your performance may go up with your window, right? Because the long-term effect of strength training hasn't really kicked in yet. But over time, you're going to start getting some slowing down effect, right? You're going to lose some explosiveness. You're also maybe going to have some fatigue involved. Okay, so over time, maybe you've continued to raise your window, but your performance is now slipping down more towards the bottom of the window. Okay? It's important to understand that that is okay. If you have gotten stronger, you have built potential for the future, okay? And over time, if you keep your window here and you get more fresh and you do some more explosive training, you can get back up near the top of your window, and now you've had big time performance improvement, right? This would be the type of scenario that I would try to make happen with an athlete if I have control over their programming. So let's talk about a couple mistakes you can make here. One is never raising your window, right? As I said before, over time, while you're getting stronger, you may be raising your window, but your performance is going to be slipping more towards the bottom of the window, okay? But you're building potential for the future. Now, if you're not willing to do that, you know, some people are afraid at any sign of decrease in performance, they stop and they rest and they change what they're doing. If you do that, you're always going to be hitting the same performance ceiling, right? If you don't raise your window, you can't get long-term performance improvement. The other mistake you can make is getting too obsessed with raising your window, right? So let's say you're always trying to get stronger, and let's say you're successful at it, you continue to raise the top of your window, but when you do a long-term pursuit of strength like this, what happens is you're increasing your potential, you're increasing the top of your window, but you're going to get some serious decrease in explosiveness and some long-term decrease in explosiveness that is very hard to undo. So the top of your window maybe went up, but the bottom of your window actually stayed down here. And your performance is going to tend to sit near the bottom of your window because you're always keeping yourself slow with strength training. So you have tons of strength, tons of potential for explosive performance, but you can never realize that potential because you won't ever let yourself get to the top of your window. Let's say you're at this point here, you'd be much better off letting your window slip down a little bit, right? And then getting to the top of the window, then continuing to try to increase the top of the window, but your performance is always sitting at the bottom. Okay? So you have to be willing to let your explosive performance go down in order to get stronger, but you also have to be willing to sacrifice a little bit of strength in order to let yourself get explosive. So consider this concept of an explosive performance window and look at your training and say, what am I trying to accomplish? Am I trying to get to the top of the window, or am I trying to raise the window? Okay? Think of things in that context, and hopefully that will help you plan out your training in the long term.